Hello everyone, and welcome to another Artcast. This one's a little special because while I was recording it, I screwed up the resolution on the second window, as you'll see soon enough. It didn't capture the artwork as I was making it. It's kind of like squished in and focused on Haru's face. So I was like, man, I totally ruined that footage. Or I could do something a little bit different, as we'll see after we get done with this part. This part right here is actually the main reason what we're going to discuss in this Artcast is I drew this on my phone with a special tool called the sonar pin. Um, it's basically here. Let me just show you. Oh, wrong button. Here we go. It's touted as the world's most affordable smart pen. There you go. And here's the footage as we shift over to where I'm working on Seiya. And it looks okay until I realize that when I need to start inking, that the image is way too small. So then I blow it up. Here we go. And boom. The second window is stuck on that position. And you don't really see a lot. You'll see me working on, the little neckerchief and the dress and whatnot, but you don't get the full image. So now switching over to the new footage. Oh, here. There we go. I just made a little mark. Yeah, I drew the pose. I would have to say that the pose actually came first. Here, let me switch the cameras again. Fancy, huh? I would have to say I drew the pose first, and then B-Stars happened, and I got into it. I didn't get into it beforehand. I just saw like a ton of like really good artwork of it, and then I saw some video clips, and then I watched the Netflix show, and just it caught on, and I was like, oh, this little pose that I put this random person in, where she's got her hips cocked and her shoulders, twisted, and her arms pointing up in a little cocky style. I'm like, that's kind of Haru. She's voiced by the youngest or second youngest sister on the Loud House, Lisa Loud. I'm afraid I don't know the voice actress's name, but I will see if I can find it and put it up there. It's a surprisingly good fit for this character. But anyway, yeah, I actually drew this. Let's see if I did this right. Yeah, there we go. Camera one. Here, let me take the cap off. Yeah, I picked this up like about maybe 6 months ago. It's funded with Kickstarter. I don't think this is actually available anymore to buy anywhere. I looked on the website again to find like more pins and nibs and stuff like that, and they actually said they were out. So I guess either they made them and didn't make much of a profit on them, or there wasn't much of a demand to keep selling them. But this is actually, as you can see, it's got a cord to it, and the reason why it's most affordable is because it pretty much works with any kind of tablet or phone. It doesn't work with every single program. In fact, the only program that works on my phone is a program called Xpaint or Ibis Paint or something like that, which is fine. I mean, it's a program I've been using, and I get a lot of finesse and nuance that just my regular finger or any other like stylus I've used before, the little rubbery things. So yeah, I get a lot out of it. The one issue is is that I didn't buy a carrying case. That's the one thing I was looking at when I was shopping for some more. Here, let me adjust my camera. There we go. I was looking for a carrying case because, first of all, this is kind of, I'm worried about doing damage to this. It's actually like really well made, and it's one of those flat wires, which I actually have a lot of, there's a lot of equipment around here that has this now. I have a USB port thing that has a flat wire. My capture card is a flat wire. I guess that's just the better way of building it. And other than and this is sort of embedded in the plastic, so that way there's no extra kind of tearing away that could cause at the base. And this one is it's got a lot of extra rubber around it, so there's no way that the tip will bend or anything. That's just, I think this is just a really well made product. But you can also tell that that maybe all the mechanisms are up in here. Here's a button that you can use for various different functions. I use it as a no hands. There's a built-in thing on the phone where it says, it basically keeps your palm recognition. That's what it calls. It keeps your palm from messing up with the, accidentally touching the touch screen and moving it around. And I, in my average, just kind of do-it-yourself spirit, I made a cap out of a Sharpie cap, and I put Velcro strips. I put fuzzy Velcro inside of it and regular Velcro around it, and then that way I just stick it on here, and then I put it in my pocket, and I can walk around with it, and then yank it out whenever I get any time to just kind of sit and draw. Let's see. But yeah, even it says right here that it works with all sorts of different things. Pressure sensitive, which is a godsend. I love pressure sensitivity. Palm rejection, that's the button I was talking about earlier. They have a shortcut button, which is that's one of the options, is to turn on and turn off palm recognition, because sometimes you like to use your fingers to reposition the canvas. It comes with a magnetic pen holder, and I guess that's what these things are for. This thing sort of sticks in the bottom of your phone. Where is it? Where does it pop? There we go. There must be a metal bar in here somewhere, because it just kind of, you're meant to just kind of stick this on your device and walk around with it. Ooh. Oh. Pardon me. Here. I just, little of my own saliva went down the wrong pipe. Man. That's not set up right now. And then I guess the same thing goes for this. It comes with, I guess, a sticky thing, where if you wanted to, you could like stick it to the bottom of something, maybe even a larger tablet, and just stick it on there and have that as a holder. And of course, it came with one replacement nib, which I've actually just been babying this one. I don't want it to bend or break or anything like that. And it came with a bunch of stickers too. I can't figure out where I put those. Let's see, how does this go? There we go. The nib is actually quite brilliantly designed. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see. Can I get a good view? There we go. Beautiful. Now, the nib is actually just there's a metal tip to it. Come on, don't do that. There we go. There's a metal tip to it, and then there's just a bit of plastic, or rubber rather. And that leads up to a metal, don't do that. It leads up to a metal tip in the, I'm sorry, I've been working in the yard today. That leads to a metal tip at the end, and of course a plastic safeguard so you don't ding up your your surface of your smart device. Here's a better example of what that actually looks like. And I say it's ingenious because it's basically... Hold on. Come on, focus. Focus. You know you can do it. You can do it. Huh. Here, let me get this out of the way, and let's see if that works. Oh, crap. Hit the microphone. So weird. I did this... There we go. I did my camera instead of this because I thought it would be a better picture. And it is. But anyway, it's a metal bar to keep the plastic, the rubber rather, stretched taut. Here's the very end of it. And then it's just... It's like a... It's rubber hose with a metal brace. And there's your... there's the end of it. And I guess it has enough... sensors or something, or has enough give where it just knows the sensitivity that you're holding the pen at. And it costs like about $30 as opposed to like a $100... let me readjust this. As opposed to a $100 stylus that I'm not even sure... I get my microphone base out of the camera. As opposed to... like, I don't know, $100 stylus that I was looking at, or buying a new iPhone and then getting that, or even buying a new iPad and getting a stylus. It was just like, I don't even know if I can do this while I'm running around. So this was a nice little affordable experiment to see if I can actually find time to go out some places and draw, which I actually, surprisingly end up do a lot of the times. Sometimes I will be escorting grandma to one of her doctor's appointments, and then afterwards we'll go and get the car dry cleaned a little bit. No, I don't. I guess you wouldn't call it dry cleaned. It's just washed. But it sounds weird just saying it washed. I mean, I wash my car. I just take soap to it. And she gets hers all polished and nice, and we go through a little tunnel, and she actually quite enjoys it. I, on the other hand, will sit there and be like, oh God, I could be doing something. And after I bought this pen, I did manage to knock out maybe about 6 drawings, which is 6 more drawings that I wouldn't have made if I, just didn't have all this kind of setup. And this one was actually interesting because I remember, I don't know when I started it. I think I started it maybe when I was over my mom's, and we were out going over something she needed to do, something, some sort of electrical equipment. But anyway, I was sitting there and I just started doodling a little bit with this, and I came up with that pose of just the little cocky hip turn and everything. I was like, well, this is interesting. I wonder what it's going to be. And then I remember finishing this piece in the middle of an Outback Steakhouse. I don't know. I forget what. Grandma just wanted steak that night, and she invited me and she invited my mom. And we just went out and had okay steak. They always have a problem. I don't know why. I mean, I cook steaks most of the time, and I do it upright. I make a nice marinade for it, make the meat nice and tender, so that way she can just really enjoy it. But anyway, I always have a hamburger because you can't screw up a hamburger, no matter how hard you try. I mean, if you manage to do that, then I guess that's something special. But yeah, I always order a hamburger, and that's about it. And while I was sitting there, I just I downloaded a picture of Haru because, again, Beastars is making the rounds, and I just decided, yeah, this is like a perfect pose for this, like, really kind of, let's just say, dynamic character. I mean, I want to say that she's confident, but she's also, sometimes she's like insecure or depressed about feeling smaller than every other creature in her world. I was actually like really surprised about the nuance that they got out of these characters in Beastars. I can see why it took off. Um, it's it's just, I don't know. It's just like it's a really good romance, and also sci-fi world building, especially with things that happen later on in the series. The artwork aside, I've heard a lot of people criticize the artwork, and I will say that it's not exactly of the original manga. Pardon me. Um, it's expressive. It's very expressive. I will give it that. Um, in fact, one of the things I like about the drawing is that Haru's got always got this like really wide kind of mouth. I saw one person that actually edited the her image or edited a panel where they made the mouth much smaller and much more cuter with that little like, and I was like, "Oh, that's not Haru. Haru's got this big shit-eating smile half the time. That's just kind of like like that." Um and they're like, and that's really pushed in the manga. They like, there's like really interesting expressions. Um And as for the anime, I think it's like really interesting. Just the way what they were able to pull off with the sort of the model animation. I want to say it's definitely come a long way since the last kind of thing that show's been about. I'm thinking of, okay, well, the most recent memory would be uh, the Batman Ninja, or Ninja Batman. I guess that's the official title of it, where it's that sort of anime style. It's CGI, but they didn't quite animate all the frames that they could. I guess they like dialed back on the frames being produced because, hey, it still takes a lot of resources to bang out those frames. I mean, it takes like Pixar days to like complete one frame of their movie. So, yeah, you cut the corners when you can. And to throw that back even further, do you remember something called droids or Z droids or something? Um, there was like, I remember one show that was about these robotic dinosaurs that actually like lived in a museum. It was kind of like We're Back, the anime. I can't quite remember. Let me put a marker on that and see if I can get back to that. Um, I can't quite remember. I remember that being on early mornings, and then there was another one just about Zoids or Z droids or something. It was more like a competitive, like 3-on-3 matches where I guess the objective was just to knock your opponents, yeah, unconscious or disable them or something. Um, and one of the highlights of those shows were just kind of like, this is kind of like Reboot, or this is kind of like Jimmy Neutron, except it seems like the frame rate is like much lower than usual. And yeah, for the most part, that's the one way they were able to get around having very detailed models, but you cut the frame rates in half, and you don't have to worry about timing and resources and money. I think they used the models in Beastars a little bit more smarter than that, and that it's very much like a traditional anime where you have a drawing and you get your economy's worth out of that one drawing. In fact, there are characters in Beastars that are hand drawn. There's this monkey lady who berates Lugosi for going out at night and returning home all beat up, and she's just going off on him. And she is she's traditional. She's just hand drawn, animated, like with the mouth flaps and everything. She moves her head like once or twice, and I realized that's because it's much simpler to just animate this incidental character traditionally than it would be to actually create a model for this character. Um, is it a little distracting? You know what? Actually, the lighting and the textures and the sort of where they where they outline everything, in that kind of 3D space where it's kind of like looks like hand drawn. Actually blends in fairly well with all the. I can only say that one character stood out the most because it was actually so blatant. I think a lot of the other characters are. I think either they don't move and you don't notice that they're hand drawn as compared to the modeled characters, or they are like extra models that the production staff has made and have. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm just like really really impressed. There's a Twitter account of the studio, and they were basically saying that all the drivers of the facial expressions basically come from Lugosi, and they're just refitted on these different models, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting. Um, also getting back to the economy of it, I think you don't notice it that much because they hold on those strong poses. Sometimes Lugosi will just sit and stare because he's really good at that, and he'll just sit and stare, and it almost looks like it's a hand drawn thing until he moves a little bit, and then it's kind of like, oh, yeah, that's right, this is a model. Um, but even then, like they'll just use like the mouth flaps, like very sparingly, and it's like, oh, okay, well you just totally learned to blend in the models in with the traditional anime style. You're not like you're not doing that whole action thing that the droids and the Bat Ninja did, where they're constantly moving around, but at half the frame rate, and so you notice that there's something off. Um, and even then, when the budget kicks in, there's like actually some really good fluid motions to the actions, and yeah, it's just really good. I like it, and I had this drawing, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna ink this and make another art cast of it, and it'll be something I do when I'm running around, doing the yard work like I do, picking weeds and stuff. And then I totally screwed it up, and it's you can only see a little bit of it. Also, I think I may retire the magic window. I think it's a cool gimmick, but on the other hand, sometimes you can't make out what's going on. I think I'll just either go back to showing the whole window as I work. I think that might work out. But on the other hand, I do like it when other artists, they'll have a smaller window where you can see everything that's actually being done. And you don't need to follow the pen, and it's a closer up image. Um, yeah, I mean, or you know what? Magic Window is actually would be pretty good. It looks good in live time, not sped up like this. I think this is maybe at double the speed. Um, so maybe live streams or something. I don't know. I'm just kind of working things out. I have my phone on a bicycle clamp, and it for some reason. Oh, okay. There we go. I had to tighten the bolt to it. There we go. That's much better. I've got a bunch of different bicycle clamps that I use to like hold cameras in place. It's actually working out pretty good. Um, and I got a webcam here. I have my here. I'll just raise this up a little bit. Maybe you can see it. I have my regular camera here hooked up to a cord, an HDMI, a mini HDMI, I guess, and that goes to my... Is that getting fuzzy? Or no, that's just my own glasses. It's getting... And that hooked up to my capture card, and that goes straight to the computer, and I can switch between the different camera modes. And then this is all just a bunch of wires I have here. I found out that the camera actually has like really good autofocus. Not the best, as you saw earlier in the video, but good enough that it that I don't have to constantly pester it. It actually like gives a really good you can like read that and make it out, and it doesn't go totally out of focus and then try and readjust like my older camera, like some of my older webcams used to do. So this is rather nice. And because this, because this is all going through a one file, I don't have to worry about like combining two different footages from the two different cameras. I can just throw it into Lightworks or DaVinci Resolve and just work it. Oh, and I have a little number pad here that controls the whole deal. This connects to the info writer, which means when I want to make a mark, I can make a mark. And then when I want to switch cameras, I can just go camera 1, camera 2. And then, like I said, yeah, I have another webcam that I was using before I discovered that this one worked so well for close-ups, and this one worked just fine. It came with the capture card. It's an older one. The autofocus it's got a hair trigger on it, so I can use it for maybe if I need things to be stationary. And I don't want to actually move things in front of the camera like I want to do here. So yeah, just working things out, experimenting. And this is actually looking pretty good. Like I said, when you get to the final parts of the drawing, the magic window actually works out fine because you can actually see what I'm doing. But I have such rough movements of my sketching that it just kind of goes all over the place. And sometimes I'll just like nervously hover the pencil above, you know, thinking about, what color should I do? Or like, this would look nice if I did this, and just kind of, yeah, just ticks that the actual camera picks up. It's like having a little camera on the tip of your device. How much time do we have left? I will discuss. I'll save that for another topic. It's another thing. 2 minutes. What else can I talk about? Oh yeah, I might as well throw this in. There's a bird that has made a nest out of a flower pot that we have sitting on our little garden cart out there, and so far, I mean, we used to scare it away whenever we used to either stand in front of the window or go out the door. But now it just sits there and just stares at us. There's only been a couple times where we've actually spooked it, where we needed something off the cart. I needed to like flip hamburgers one time, and I just walked up as slow as I could, and I was saying, "Excuse me, I just need to go and get this," and it took off. I actually tried to leave. I was thinking about leaving bread there one time, but I was like, no, I'll just let nature take its course and not try to interfere with anything, because I don't know what would happen. She's got 2 eggs underneath her nest, and they're actually like a really bright pink. So yeah, I guess that's where Easter eggs come from. Is you try to make it look like you paint them in order to make them look like not ordinary chicken eggs. But anyway, there's Haru. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I sound like Nixon. Hey Nixon, who's your favorite Beastars character? Haru. Um, so yeah, that's her, and I'm really happy with the way this drawing came out. I'm really happy with the way that I was just able to produce this drawing. Able to just like run around and do things and show you the sonar pen. I don't know if you can actually get it anymore. And also, I don't know if there's like they've made new affordable devices, but it's always something to consider. Anyway, thank you all for joining me this time. This was fun. We may do this little format again some other time. But anyway, till then, stay safe, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.